Hi folks, I'm Jennifer Lau, Master Gardener, longtime employee of English Gardens here in Royal Oak, Michigan. I think one of the most interesting things to talk about in the gardening community is growing food. It's something we all need to know how to do. It's kind of important. The beginner must understand the basics of how to provide for themselves, yes, and the experienced gardener may not always know everything that'll work in their favor to make things a lot easier. So I want to invite everyone today. Vegetable Gardening 101. The basic but important things so that you can eat deliciously. First things first, we need to assess where we're going to grow our garden. You want to give it the best possible conditions that it can. And the one thing that we can't skimp on is sun energy. You need at least a good 6 hours of direct sun hitting the plants. So work with that. I understand maybe you don't have that, or maybe you live in an apartment, or you live in a condo. You can grow anything in a container. So there are reasons that we can do different things, so stick with it. Secondly, you need really good soil, something workable, something that you can put your shovel in, move it around, and these little baby roots can start to grow easily. You want them to grow farther down into the earth so that they maintain a good nutritional balance. They can get water if something happens and you're not there or Mother Nature isn't there to provide it. This is a good place to start, is making sure that it's loose and airy. If you have a soil test before you start any of this, boy does that come in handy. You can get that here at English Gardens or at your local university extension office. But it's convenient here. You find out right away if there's any nutritional deficiencies, if the chemistry is off, and most importantly, how to fix it. So it's good information if you can get that before you start. If you can't get that before you start, then dig the soil. Get a shovel, get a good bag of all-purpose compost. Cow manure is great. It's big, doesn't smell, and it provides all the basic general nutrients when your baby plants are starting off for them to become strong and healthy and give you good food. Remember that whether you're going from a seed packet or whether you're getting it from an actual transplant, it'll say on the tags, read them, it's good information. One of the things that they're going to tell you is how big the plant is going to get. Few people, if they've ever grown a tomato plant, know that it's going to get as big as me. Okay, this is a good thing. It's strong, it's healthy, it's going to provide a lot of food, but you need the space to do that. Nothing can be right next to each other. So everybody needs their own house. So it's helpful to know where to space them ahead of time before you ever put the plants in. Dig the holes, and then you start. So why don't I start with actually showing you how to plant a tomato in a container so that you feel confident seeing someone else do it. Here we go. This is a larger container for a larger plant. Remember, you're going to read the plant tags. I've got it filled with potting soil, something light and airy. Mother Nature is just a little bit too dense for a closed, condensed container like this. So start with some good quality light potting soil. Alrighty, I'm still going to mix in a little bit of compost just so it comes in direct contact with some good nutrition right off the bat. Those little baby roots need a good shot right first thing in the morning. Before I put the plant in, I'm going to put in a good handful of starter fertilizer. This is all natural. It instantly splits the roots hairs. Gets them going for a good strong start. I want them to come in direct contact with the roots. It does its job. It's amazing. So planting is as simple as that, trust me. But at this point in time, I need to tell you that there are certain things like a tomato that grow so large, you've read the plant information, you know this, I want something to hold it in place that keeps it vertical so it's not crawling all over the place. Why make it so easy for squirrels and bunnies and everyone to have a snack on my behalf? So I want to be selfish, I want to leave it to myself. So I'm going to put a cage around it. I'm going to put it on now because the plant roots are not going to get chopped off by me putting it down in there. I know this seems large, but trust me, this plant is going to grow and it's going to be helpful that this is all in there. Remember me talking about the squirrels and the animals? And let's not forget the insects too. We're going to put a natural repellent around this. I'm going to put basil and parsley and marigolds and chives. I'm going to surround my tomato plant or any other plant with that. Do you know why? It's a perfectly good natural repellent. They don't like the smells or the taste. You've been doing this for hundreds of years, if not more than that. Next, I want to know how to repel the weeds because I have come to a point in time in my life when this is something that I don't want to do. So I don't want you to do this either. This is handy. Put down mulch. It keeps the soil temperature even. It holds in some good moisture control. It also just plain cuts down on the weeds. They can't grow because they're suffocated. If you put down a couple inches from the start of the season, there might be a few that poke up that have already germinated, but all in all, it keeps them down. I'm much happier. Keeps the place cooler too to walk around, so it's good information. So other maintenance issues, I'm going to make sure, and water. When Mother Nature doesn't provide that lovely thing for me, and I mean rain hard, not just a little sprinkle. If she doesn't rain hard, then every single week I'm going to go out to my plants and give them a really good drink. I use a watering can rather than a sprinkler because I can control that it goes right into the base of the plant. Sprinklers sometimes can splash all over, and they can splash problems too. There are funguses in the soil and bacteria, and when it puddles up and splashes on the leaves, bad things can happen, especially when August comes around and it's muggy as all get out. So let's avoid all that. This is a handy trick. I want you to cut off all the leaves that might be touching the surface. I'm going to show you how many that I'm cutting off, even as this baby plant. All of this is gone. So if you do that ahead of time, and maybe every few weeks go and get that leaf that's laying on the ground or that stem, make sure there's good airflow and good air circulation. Maybe also in the interior of the plant. Anything that's growing inward, cut it off, knocking into each other. If it's growing outwards and there's flowers and producing tomatoes, all that's lovely and all that's good, but everything else is just blocking up the area. So cut it off and you'll avoid all sorts of problems like blight and other funguses. Next, let's get to the important part, the eating part. The yellow flowers come first. The fruit comes directly from them. Make sure and tell your little ones not to pick the flowers and bring them to mama. That's where the fruit comes from. Once it looks like it's something that you would see in the grocery store and buy, it's ready. Remember, I don't want to necessarily pull on it and break off any leaves. I want to use my clippers and snip it off cleanly and neatly. When the nighttime temperatures reach down into the mid-40s, everything's pretty much done. Whenever that happens to be, you're going to pull up your garden, you're going to take off all of the tomatoes, you're going to put them on the counter, you're still going to be able to eat from it. But did you ever get that soil test? Now is the perfect time when you're putting a garden to bed to add in any amendments that it might need in order to get it going really well for next year. Remember, I'm just going to replace exactly what I took from the garden, so everything is still in nice and easy balance. We all know that homegrown tomatoes taste better than anything that you will ever get in a grocery store. Why is that? It's the soil. When the chemistry and all the nutritional values in the soil are balanced, that's when sugar conversion happens. So nutritional food is what tastes good. It's true. It's all in the test. Follow the test. Here's to having the best food you've ever had. And that's going to be the best pesto you've ever had too. Make life beautiful. We'll see you in the store.